Hey, this is René. Welcome back to another video today. And I want to start a new project, build a new expert advisor around the Donchian channel indicator. First of all, I will explain the Donchian channel indicator, and then I will explain what I want to do and start coding in this video already. So the Donchian channel indicator is what you can see here. It is this blue line. It is a really simple trend following indicator. And that's why I like it. I really believe this is a really strong indicator because it is this simple. And my experience has shown that it is often the simple indicators that are the best because you know exactly what they do, and the idea is pretty much enough to follow trends. So you have only one input. This is in German, it means candles. And you can just say like you want the high and the low of the last X bars, for example 20 bars, displayed on the chart. So if you have a look here, you can see it here. For example, we have 20 bars here until here, and you can see this lower line. It is always the lowest point of the last 20 bars. So here, for example, if you go back 20 bars, wait a second. If we go back 20 bars, this is the, we see that these are the last 20 bars. And here is the lowest point, so this is the line then. And this will stay the lower line pretty much as long as this candle is in the last 20 bars. And here this changes. So if we go here, you can see now this bar drops out of the 20 bars. So this is the lowest point now, and the line is increasing a little bit. And then this is the lowest point, so the line goes somewhere up here. And but this was already another new lowest point. So long story short, it is just the lowest point of the last 20 bars, and of course the other line is the highest point of the last 20 bars. So this is a really easy and simple indicator and can be used to follow trends. Because if we have a look, for example, at this situation, the signal is, of course, when the bar or the price drops below the lower or the higher line here, then we enter a trade. And this could be a short signal here, and then we just follow this Donchian channel indicator. So we would go all the way down here, make a profit of 2,000 points, and then which is 200 pips, and then exit here and make a buy trade. So it is like a really easy system, but I want to make it a little bit more complex, and I will explain this later on. So these are the situations that we want pretty much. But if you have a look at this situation here, this is a really big problem for this indicator or this strategy, because we would have a buy trend here, we would enter it here, and we would close it here. Then we would have this sell position, which we would close here. So we have another buy position, we would close it here. You can see all of these trades would be closed with a loss. And this is like the big problem of this indicator, or with any trend following indicator, of course. It is when the market cannot find a clear direction. So in these sideways movements, whatever you want to call them, you obviously make a lot of losses. They are, of course, smaller than these big trend profits, but of course a lot of small losses can sum up to a big loss. But my idea for this program is that even if you have these like time intervals where you have a lot of small losses, you will see a big trend eventually. So in the end, there's always like this big movement following a lot of small losses. And So we will have to find a way to capitalize on these big movements. So the easiest way to do this in trading is to increase the lot size. So my idea is that whenever we have a lot of losses, we will just increase the lot size a little bit. We can use a factor for this, or maybe a fixed lot size. I will work this out in the next videos. But in these sideways movements here, we will increase the lot size a little bit. So when the big move is following, we will have a really big position and make a really big profit. So this is like the general idea for this strategy. And I think this could work out. Of course, the big problem is if there is a really long period where we do not see a big move, this may cause the program or the idea to fail. But we will see this if we are doing some testing. So first of all, let's start writing this program. And I will focus on writing the expert advisor, so the program that actually trades, and not on writing the indicator. But I think I can link a download, or I can put a download link for the indicator in the comment section, or in the video description. So you will find it somewhere there. So let's start writing this program, and in this video I will just I will just create like the general system here with the buy and sell trades. So when we are writing a program, of course we need the MetaQuartz language editor. So go to Tools, MetaQuartz language editor, and then we can click in the upper left corner on New, create a new program. We say Donchian channel super strategy. It doesn't really matter what name you choose here. Then you click on next, and finish, and this will create a new expert advisor. So let me create or let me delete these gray lines. Gray lines are just comments in programming, so they do not affect the program and the functionality. And I always like to rearrange my brackets a little bit so it looks like I am used to see my code. Well, this was not intended. Okay, so once we did this, we will have the three functions left here, which are the onInit function. This function is triggered or executed whenever the program is activated or when the time frame is changed. So when the program is initialized, then we have this onDinit function, which is called if the program is deinitialized. So if or before the time frame changes, or if the program is removed from the chart, and the onTick function, which is triggered with every single tick. So every time there's a price movement in the chart, this function will be executed if the expert advisor is active in this chart. All of these functions are system functions, so they will be called by the MetaTrader itself. So if we compile this program now, I mean, there's no real code, but we can still compile it. If you click on compile here, you will find it in the MetaTrader. If you go to expert advisors here, you will see there is this Donchian channel super system, or whatever name you chose. And I can drag and drop it onto any chart and click on OK. So this is working already. And now the program is here in the upper right corner of the chart, and it is now active. So whenever there's a tick now, the MetaTrader 5 will call or execute the onTick function of the expert advisor that is currently active in this chart, which is this Donchian channel super system. So this is why we can just put our code inside of one of these functions, and then the code will be executed whenever there's a certain event in the MetaTrader. And what we want to do now, first of all, we want to calculate these Donchian channel values, right? So there are two ways. We could do it manually pretty much, or we can call this indicator. I think I will use the indicator for now. So what we can do here is we can create a handle for the Donchian channel indicator, which is a global variable, because we will use it in two different functions, the onInit and the onTick. So you can create global variables outside of any of these function bodies. A body is always in between of these curly brackets of the function. So this variable is now available in all of these functions, and it will stay alive as long as the program is running. So once the program is activated, the MetaTrader or this expert advisor will create a variable of type integer. This is what this int means, and this is just any number pretty much. These are all integer values. So just any number can be stored inside of a variable of type integer. This is the name that we chose. It doesn't matter what name you choose. You can call it how you like, and this is just the semicolon to end the line. So now we have this variable, and we can store values inside of this variable. For example, we can say something like this. This would be working, and now we have 2 stored inside of this variable. Of course, it doesn't make sense. So what we want to store here is a handle for our indicator. And since the Donchian channel is not a standard indicator in MetaTrader 5, we will have to add it to the indicators folder here. So I will link this Donchian channel program somewhere below this video, and you can add it if you click on File, Open Data Folder, then you click on mql5, Indicators, and this is the folder where you have to drop this Donchian channel.ex5 file. And when this file is here, you can use it in the iCustom function. So write iCustom like I do here, and then we will have to define what specific Donchian channel we want to get the values from. So we want to use the current chart symbol as a first parameter. So we will have to provide all of these parameters here in these round brackets after the function name, which is iCustom. So the first one is the symbol name. And by writing underscore symbol, you can see it here in the mql5 reference, which you can open by clicking F1 on your keyboard. You can see this always contains the symbol name of the current chart. And if I activate this program in the Euro-US dollar chart, as I just did here, underscore symbol will hold the value Euro-US dollar, like this. So if I write underscore symbol, the program will replace it with this value pretty much. So the second parameter is the time frame. And the easiest way is to say period current, because this will choose the current chart time frame. Again, you can click F1 to find it in the documentation or reference. And here you can see all of the possible values pretty much on the left side. You can choose any of these IDs, but in this case, we will just choose period current because it will always give us the Donchian channel for the current chart time frame. And then I have to provide the indicator name. And this is pretty much what I showed you before. So this is Donchian channel.ex5 or the name that is chosen for the file in this indicators folder that I showed you before. So following here, you can see all of these 3 parameters for the iCustom functions. They had this little preview. Now you just see this ... And this is because now we will have to add the parameters for whatever indicator we chose here pretty much. And this is the input list for the indicator. So if we have a look here, you can see this indicator has 1 input, which is the amount of candles that you want for the calculation of the high and low. So we can just say 20 like this. Then, because there is only 1 input, we can close this parameter list by writing the closing bracket and end the line with a semicolon. If we compile this, we now have the handle for this Donchian channel stored inside of this variable. A handle is just pretty much just a number, which doesn't make sense to us as a human, but for the PC, or for the MetaTrader, this number that we just created and stored in this variable is connected to a definition of this Donchian channel indicator. So the program knows if we are using this handle as a handle, it will be linked to this Donchian channel. So the program or MetaTrader knows exactly what indicator we want to receive values from. And this is what we will do in the next step. In the onTick function, we will use the copy buffer function, which is a function of the mql5 framework. So we can use it right away. You can see there are again a lot of parameters requested. And the first one is a handle. So if we provide our handle, the MetaTrader automatically knows that we want to receive values from this specific Donchian channel indicator. Now we have to provide a buffer number. And if we go back to the MetaTrader 5, we can see in the data window, you can open it by clicking on View Data Window. There you can see we have two values for this Donchian channel indicator. We have the Donchian channel oben and Donchian channel unten, which is German for Donchian channel upper and lower pretty much, which is stands for the lines. So the first one is the upper line, the second one is the lower line. So if we provide a buffer number for the copy buffer function, we can use 0 for the first line and 1 for the second. So the counting here always starts at 0, and then it's usually just 0, 1. If there would be more lines, it would be 2, 3, 4, and so on and so on. So we say a 0 for the upper line, and then we have the starting position, which will be 0 here, and the count, which is 1. So we want the upper line at position 0 in the chart, which means for the last bar at the very right side here. So this is index 0 in a chart. The counting here starts at the very right side and then is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and so on and so on. So if we add 0, we will get this value for this specific bar here. And by saying we have a count of 1, we say that we only want one value. We could say we want all of these 3 values for the last 3 bars, but we just want one value. And then the last parameter is an array. So we say DC upper, for example. And if we compile this doesn't work because DC upper is an undeclared identifier. This variable does not exist, so we will have to create it. We say double DC upper, and a double is not an integer data type, but it is still a number. But a double can hold, can have values after the decimal point. So these are double numbers. And since we want to store price levels in this array, which usually have a decimal point and numbers after this decimal point, we have to use a double variable and not an integer variable. And by saying or by adding these squared brackets after the variable name, we say this is an array. So we can store multiple values in this array. In this case, we only store one value in the array, but still, since this function, the copy buffer function, requests an array, we will have to provide one. So this is what we do. Also, we can copy this and say DC lower. So you can write it like this, like comma, DC lower, or you can put it into a different line. This is both the same. So, and we also copy this line because now we want to get the values from the first buffer, which is the lower line, as I said before, and we want to store it in the DC lower array. So if we compile this, this should be working. So what we will do now is we will say so now what we also need is we need the bit price. So we store the bit price in another double variable. In this case, realize there's no squared brackets after the name because this is just a single value. And we can use the symbol info double variable, which is a function, which is again a function which is part of the mql5 framework. And we can use it to say that we want for the current chart symbol the bit price. So as a first parameter, you say what symbol you want to get the value for, and then you say symbol bit as a identifier, as a second parameter. So the MetaTrader knows you want to have the bit price. We store this bit price in this bit variable, and now we can say, or we can use a control structure, which is a if statement, it looks like this. You write if, then you open the brackets, then you say bit is greater than the DC upper value at index 0, because in this case we have a buy signal. So we can write something like this. So this print function is used to print something in the expert's journal in the MetaTrader. And we can say if bit is smaller than the DC lower value, then we have a sell signal, right? Sell signal. Okay. I think I have to make one more adjustment here. I have to say if it's greater or equal, I think, because otherwise we will not get signals. Okay, so if we compile this, this will work. So let me explain this if statement real quick. If statement is always, it starts with this if, then you have in round brackets a condition, which is in most cases just a comparison of two values like we did here with this mathematical operator. And then in curly brackets, we have the body of this if statement. So whenever this condition is true, we will execute the body of this if statement. Then we added this else if, which means if this condition is not true, we will also check this condition. And if this condition is true, we will execute the body. If none of these conditions are true, we will do nothing and we will just skip this block pretty much. So this is how you can work with these if statements. Okay, so now if there's a buy signal, we open a buy position. If there's a sell signal, we open a sell position. To open positions, we will use the ctrade class. So you will have to include a file to use this class. So if you just write this hashtag include and then in these spiky brackets, so this is just a smaller sign, this is a greater sign, you write trade/trade.mqh, because this will include a file which you can find in the navigator here. If you go to include trade.mqh, you will find a file. This is a really big file and it has it holds the definition of this ctrade class. And this class can be used to open positions and trade easily. So what we can do now is we can use this. We can now create a object variable of type ctrade. And we could do this as a global variable, as I just did here. So once you did this, you can now use this trade object variable to open trades. And this is really easy. You just write trade by, and then you add the volume that you want to trade here. For example, 0.1. We copy this, and for a sell signal, we say, of course, trade.sell. So if we do it like this, we should now open positions. So go to the MetaTrader 5 and open the strategy tester. You can do this by clicking View Strategy Tester. Then go to Overview, Visualize, select the expert you want to test, which is Donchian Channel Super System in this case. Then you can choose a symbol and a time frame and a period that you want to test. I can just go with 2022 because I just want to check if my program is working. Then we do not have inputs. Then in the lower right corner, you click on Start, and this will start a new backtest. Okay, so let's start the backtest. By the way, in the meantime, I had to switch to another MetaTrader because in the other MetaTrader, my tester wasn't working, but here we can see it now. When I start the test, you can see that the strategy is demonstrated with historical data. Whoops, and there was an event happening already because we hit the lower line of the Donchian channel indicator and we open a trade. But not only one trade, but we open a lot of trades. And this is a problem that we have to take care of. And let's go back to the code and see what happens here. So what happened here was that the bid price was falling below the lower level of the Donchian channel indicator, so we opened a sell trade. But the problem is this is all placed in the onTick function. So with every single tick, the whole source code in the onTick function is executed. So with every tick, this condition is true, and with every tick, we open a sell position. So the easiest way to take care of this problem is we can create a global variable which we can name position ticket, for example, and this is of type long or unsigned long. A long data type is pretty much just a really big number. So this could be a long value. The U just means that it is always positive. It is unsigned, so there's no minus in front of the number. So we can only store positive numbers inside of this variable. And we use this variable to store position tickets in it. And position tickets in MetaTrader are always positive. That's why it's a unsigned long. So what we do here is we check if this sell operation was successful, because if we have a look here at the preview of this sell function, you can see it returns a Boolean value, and a Boolean value is either true or false, so one of these values. And if it is true, this is enough for this whole condition of this if statement to be true. So in this case, we know that the sell operation was executed successfully, and then we can update our position ticket variable with the result order value. So result order is a function which is part of the cTrade class, and if we call this function with the same object variable, which is trade in this case, that we used to open a position before, this order will return the order ticket of the order that we just sent. And this order will then be turned into a position, because we are opening a market position here. So we can do this here, and we can do this here for the position opening of a buy position. So here we do the same. Position ticket is equal to trade result order, like this. So no, you might ask yourself, why do we do all this? We do this because before we open a position, we can check if the position ticket is smaller or equal 0. Because when we create it for the first time here, it will be initialized with a value 0 by default. And then we check if position ticket is smaller or equal 0, which it is in this case for the first execution. And then we put a value in this variable. So then for the next run, it will not be 0. There's one more thing that we can do. For example, at the very bottom of this onTick function, we can write a comment. A comment function can be used to write a comment in the upper left corner of the chart. And here we can write something like position ticket. This comma just means that we want to print both of these values. So we print the position ticket in the upper left corner. So if we run the backtest again, we will see in the upper left corner, we see 0 now, because there was no position opened. But once the first position is opened, we will see it now says position ticket 2. And this is the position ticket of the currently open position. So you see, now we do not have the problem that we get multiple positions here, right? And this is great, because now we can work from this point on. But also we can see here where the exit signal appears, or where we hit the upper part pretty much of this Donchian channel, we do nothing pretty much. So what we would do here is we would have to close a existing sell position and then open a buy position. So what we have to do here is, for a buy signal, we first have to check if position ticket is greater than 0. And in this case, we can check if we are able to select a position using this position ticket. This position select by ticket function is a part of the mql5 framework, and it will select a open position as it says here. So once we selected a position, we can then use these we can use here it is written, we can use the position get double, position get integer, and position get string function to receive information of this currently selected position. So what we want to do here is we want to check if position get integer, and then we say position type. So we want to check the position type, and we want to check if it is a position type cell position. So if we have a open cell position and we have a buy signal, then we want to close this position, right? So we check if we can close this position. So we say trade position close. This is another function which is part of the cTrade class and which we can use using this trade object. So we say position close, and we provide our position ticket because this is the position that we want to close. And if this was successful, then we reset the value in this position ticket variable and say that it has to be 0 again. Now let me copy this whole block. Whoops, I cut it now, so paste it here again and go to the sell signal. And of course here I will paste the block. I will also paste the block, and here we check if we have a open buy position. And in this case, the rest is completely the same. We close this buy position, we reset the position ticket. So like this, we should already have a working system pretty much which can trade like the most basic Donchian channel system. So we will see there is the first sell trade. This is position ticket number 2. And now let's see what happens if we hit the upper line of this Donchian channel. There it is. We have a buy position now because we closed the sell position and opened a buy position. And now let's see, there's another sell position. And this is like the most basic Donchian channel system. You can see some of these trades are losing, some of these trades are winning. Right now we have more losing trades, but here we have another winning trade. And the nice thing is, once you have a really strong trend, you can follow it for a really long time. I hope that we will see it. Yeah, here you saw we had a little bigger profit, and there was another profit. So you can see like this system is working. This might not be the best system in the world right now, but we still have to add our a logic with a Martingale functionality. So I just tested it here for the last month, or for the current month pretty much. And in the next videos we will take care of like increasing the lot size with every single trade, and we can even add maybe a take profit, a stop loss. But let's see. We will go step by step here, so you can follow along, and I want to keep these steps like really simple. So let me show you the current state of the program here real quick. So right now we have some global variables here. Make sure to include this trade.mqh file, otherwise you cannot use this cTrade class. In the onInit function, we have to get the handle of the Donchian channel indicator. And you can use the file that I will put in the comment section as a download link for the Donchian channel. And again, you have to put this file in the following folder. So click on File in your MetaTrader or Meta Editor, click on Open Data folder, then click on mql5, then click on Indicators, and here you have to put this Donchian channel.ex5 file. And then in the onTick function, we take care of receiving the data from the Donchian channel indicator first, and then we compare it to the current bid price. We check if there's a buy signal or a sell signal, and if there's a buy signal, we close existing sell positions if there are any, and then open a new buy position. And it's the other way around pretty much for the sell signal. And in the end, we just print a comment in the upper left corner of the chart, so we know what is the currently or the open position right now. So this is it for this tutorial. Hope you liked it. Hope you were able to follow along. Play around with this indicator. You can test it already in different time frames and different charts. And in the next video, we will take care of the Martingale part, I think. So subscribe to the channel if you are not subscribed already. Like the video, tell all your friends about it, and I hope you will have a great time and good trades. See you next time. Bye bye.